Hello, everybody. My name is Alberto Roca Alvarez. I am a language teacher and translator. I come from Cuba and live and work in Paraguay. There has been an interesting change of opinion, between 20 years ago now, in some of the teachers that I know, about the best communicative language method, teaching language method to use in class. In the past, the communicative approach, now a combination of them. My contention and that the title of this presentation is actually that language teaching should go beyond any method. It should be oriented toward results. Let's take a look at this. How can we choose, this combination of method from such a wide array of possibility that exists? And I love the way Prabhu puts it. He calls a result-based approach, which might not be the best idea, and this presentation is going to show that, as a set of procedures that carries a prediction of results. The fulfillment of that prediction depends only or mainly on the accurate replication of the procedure, not on the perceptions of those who do the replications, rather in the way the replications in a procedure of chemistry yields the predicted results regardless of the chemist's thoughts or feelings about it. This implies, among other things, that teachers' pedagogic perceptions can be easily replaceable by classroom procedures. The idea that could hardly be less absurd. As we know, combining elements in language classes is not easy. The result that you get is very hard to identify, to predict, to imagine, let alone how long this final product is going to last. So we talk about result-based approach, which is not the best idea for getting the best results in the process. Let's take a look at why. Normally, we take into account class environment, the student's age, the class size, the organization you teach for, the students and the teacher's perspective of learning a foreign language, external factors, as some of the most important factors. And some important considerations about methods to use in class on the left. On the right, some of the most important methods per se that are used in class. The important issues are not which method to adopt, but how to develop procedures and instructional activities that will enable the process objectives to be attained. Richards, 1984. The method is best, he seems to say, when it results from the careful implementation of the procedure, the soundness of the method being guaranteed by the soundness of the procedure. And I'm going to explain that. This is Prabhu again. In this case, the procedure, involved the teacher's role in evaluating if it's going right or not, in making changes when appropriate, or not making any changes. On the right, we have some of the most important methods used: the communicative approach, content-based teaching, multi-intelligentsia, total physical response, strategopedia, the lexical phraseology, whole language. Now, in my humble opinion, the two main important factors to consider when choosing this combination of methods are the students and the teacher's perspective of teaching and learning a foreign language, and the teacher's sense of plausibility. The first one, both pictures here show a complete mismatch, between expectations and reality, and between two people's ideas, two people's, let's say, expectations about the same thing. But it is not only when there is a complete mismatch between the students' perspective, expectations of the teaching learning process and the teachers that the end can be disastrous. Small nuances can lead to the same really bad results. And this is what happened in this case. This is a factual case. It happened to some of my former school classmates on their first philosophy major day at college. The pile of books that you can see on the picture is what they got on their desks that first day. What happened was that within the next few weeks, some of them just dropped out. They had wanted, they had desired, they had worked hard to get into the philosophy major. Finally, they didn't finish not even the first semester. they dropped out. As it is implied here, lack of information about what philosophy major took, what it was about, how it should be conducted was a major factor here. Some of my classmates did not have the extensive reading habits, let alone about the tone and the subjects that philosophy takes. I don't mean to say that you can lose any student because you don't inform them of what's going to happen. I mean to say that it is really important to build the gap between what they believe, what they expect, and what the course really takes and how it is done. Finally, the sooner we can ease their fears by listening to them, and we can build that bridge, the faster, the better the process is going to smooth out and have good results. Now, I found completely interesting to discuss this 7 A's from Language Education, Rogers, 1979. He thinks that it is fundamental that students are explained these 7 A's so that they look at language in these 7 or from these 7 perspectives. Language as abilities, language as art, language as artifact, language as analysis, language as acculturation, language as effect, language as activation. On the other hand, we have the teacher's perspective, which is usually positive, sensitive, friendly, and that doesn't solve the problem, as we know. The debate between the two perspectives, the teachers and the students, will always be there. What is important, again, is actually to listen to the student about what they believe, what they expect, what they aspire, and to explain what they're going to get. Find the best way, to put the two things together for the same purpose. The teacher's sense of plausibility was the second factor that I mentioned. The Collins Online Dictionary defines it as plausible as likely to be true or that seems to be true. And the Cambridge Online Dictionary defines plausibility as containing the quality to be true or it's possible to be true. Now, my definition is that the sense of plausibility of a teacher is by extension the feeling that some methodology, techniques or activities are going the right way or not. It is this strong sensation that can only get stronger in the presence of other teachers when the particular experience is discussed. This feeling is only present only if the teacher is closely connected to what they're doing and not blindly attached to the manual. This is what makes the difference between mechanical teaching and humanistic teaching. I love the way Prabhu puts it. As I said, this is the main factor that I consider. And he talks about mechanical teaching here. He says when the teacher stops listening to their inner sense of what's going right or not, what's effective or not, what needs adaptation and much more practice or not, they're doing mechanical teaching. Mechanical teaching assumes that methods have value for learning independent of teachers and students' objective understanding of them. Thus, perpetuating an unrealizable goal and reinforcing the misconstruction of pedagogy, or trying not to take into account the teacher's subjective understanding of teaching, thus ceasing to be objectively evaluative. Exactly the opposite is my proposal here. Now, some of my ideas based on my experience are language learning, and all kind of learning today is much more autonomous because people are more autonomous and they enjoy that. Also because the scheme, even though the scheme of a language classroom has not changed much since 200 years ago, people are much more self-confident and see teachers as facilitators, but not as the owners of the truth. People want quick results and are eager to move on to the next level as fast as possible. People are much more relaxed and want to have fun. Teachers' main goal seems to be to engage the students, to teach about language and to be available 24/7. To conclude, some of the most important things are teaching a foreign language has changed. That is a fact. It's really important to adapt these changes to our particular classes, right? Not the class to the change. Listen to our sense of plausibility and to make it possible for the students to attain the class, so the class goals and their personal goals. Some of the references here, and thank you very much.